Dear vocal improvisers of the world, my name is Jakaš Kapin, and this is In Conversation, our monthly series of live interviews. Today we're very lucky to chat with Zuza from Música, Círculo, one of its co-founders. Zuza is also the founding member of the WELL, has been really involved in its mission, and we just need to ask him about what's going on with the project, the way it's developing, the way it's spreading within the global community, and much more. For the first time, I am doing the live from a car, so hopefully we won't get interrupted. I'm currently in the south of France and driving between different vocal improvisation events. So let's not wait and invite Zuza in. And before we do so, as always, if you want to become a member of the WELL or find out more, you can go to thewellvocal.com, see the global map with over 1,300 members, upload your events, check the resources page, and much more. Let's see if Zuza... Let's see. Let's see. I will try again. It says unable to join. So I will invite Zuza personally, and let's see if that works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just doing a one note ostinato in the meantime.
And actually, I was hearing it.
Yes.
And I was
It
even
just
joining
said,
it.
yes, it had to be you personally, not the whole institute, you, Zuza. It had to
Yeah.
be you.
Yeah. So we are with my profile. Okay, no
We
worries.
are. We couldn't make it work, but we're going to share it on the Música profile after the end of this chat.
Amazing.
Okay, so welcome. Where are we finding you? What time of the day? How are you?
I'm just coming. Can you hear me well?
I can.
Yeah, I'm just coming from a rehearsal with Condengo, which is a performance group with many people from the Música do Círculo community. Right now it's 2 p.m. here. I haven't had lunch. After this meeting, I have a calm day, the first one in a while. So
Brilliant.
yeah, feeling good.
That's good to hear. Here it's 7 p.m., so it's kind of sunset time. And I did a lot of driving today, and I just said, I'm going to join from the car for the first time and see how it goes.
I think it's gonna go great.
Exactly. So where to start? I mean, most, listeners on either pages already know or have heard of Música do Círculo. It has had quite an impact, especially since the pandemic, in terms of people's awareness of the method. Also, your, trainings are now not just in Brazil, but also in Europe and North America. So I wonder if you can give us an update from you, the way you perceived where things are going, what you would like to point out, and maybe just tell us, about the last period, last couple of years, and how it was to actually facilitate this spread from something a little bit more national to something truly global.
I'm just moving to get a better lighting. Oh, this
Yes,
is
we need
much
the
better.
colors. You know, the colors of our
Yeah,
shirts need to come to life.
yeah, this is much better. Uh, this international element has been part of Música do Círculo work since our first retreat, uh, which happened in 2015. And in the first retreat we did here, already some foreigners joined. And it actually comes from before that. I'm thinking of the first year I went to Bobby McFerrin's workshop at Omega in 2012. And even before that, when we had the IBMF here in Brazil in 2010, and we got to meet a lot of people from all around the world. So I think this element of an international community has been always a part of this. And I think now it's at a point where it's slowly becoming like normal, like
Hmm.
a normal part of life, which is kind of surreal. That like to have friends all around the world and to be working with them on a regular basis around this training. And yeah, it's been a very special journey. In the beginning when we were doing Música do Círculo, just me, Ronaldo, and Pedro, just the three of us, and leading these flows and having conversations that we felt that we couldn't have with other people. We like the vocabulary we were using, the experiences we were describing. We felt that not enough people, that other people wouldn't understand. Uh, and then with time, seeing that vocabulary spread, that idea spread, and seeing also that it works everywhere. That's
Hmm.
also like that was also something very magical about this process. Like last year I was in China, around May, and I come back after, so I've been there a couple of times, and that's another instance where I was like, oh, will this work in this culture that I don't know, and that it feels so different? And again, I had this feeling, wow, it really, we're really connecting to something that is in the essence of the human being. So
Hmm.
it really can cross cultures, and yeah, it's been beautiful to understand that the experiences can be meaningful in other contexts, and more now understanding that leaders from other cultures can also lead the practice in amazing ways and bring their own cultures, their own flavors
Yes.
into it. That's really the moment we're living now, this
Yes, and
last
maybe I
part.
want to ask you a bit more about your trip to China. We also have an Asia Pacific group within the WEO that meets every month or 2 months. It's a small group, but as you said before, when you did the open forum, it was the same with Frutula Libre, right? It's just about the commitment and regularity, and sometimes it's 10 people, and sometimes it's going to be 100 people. But I want to ask you about the particularities of that trip. So within that group, we sometimes talk about the cultural specifics, and obviously Asia is a huge continent. But we were talking in certain countries how there's a different idea to self-expression. That kind of this idea that I'm going to step out and do a solo in a musical way can be quite unheard of. That also the idea of rhythm is quite different. I remember Akiko from Japan saying that actually the way she perceives it culturally is that it comes from the breath and not even the heartbeat. And my understanding is, or you could say that in Brazil, it comes from the heartbeat, and that, let's say in Japan, to her understanding, it comes from the breath. So the idea of rhythm is totally different. Are there any things like that that you discovered when you gave parts in China, when you talked to people, how they responded to the music that you made?
Yeah, musically, uh, I did not feel such dramatic difference specifically. I could see that for many people I was working with, the music I was meaning grooves and harmonies and melodies, the way I was bringing to them was kind of a second language to them that they spoke well. And those were like educators and some music therapists. And I had, in a few moments, opportunity to see them speaking their first language or doing music that was in more Chinese traditional styles that some of them were versed into. And that was really special. Or sometimes, like during the improvisation, like a melody or a lyrics from a song would come up, and everyone would join in unison in that song, and they would have an amazing time singing their songs in unison. So I feel that musically, many times I was proposing and they were joining in very well. There was that feeling of perhaps partly being a second language because I was sharing more my musicality in many moments. And then when they shared more their musicality, I could see them doing a great job at speaking this second language, which is more Western music, and it worked great. And then at certain moments, they speaking like more of a first language, which were beautiful moments that I want to create more space for. Yeah, but one thing that I noticed that really struck me was that, Música do Círculo is a very relational experience and it's very collective. And in that sense, they were very fluid. They were very comfortable being in musical community, which is not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this resistance, this individual resistance that sometimes is natural in the beginning of workshops, that I did not feel in my work in China. I felt the groups having a very easy time to work as a collective, and that was really interesting. And at the same time, yes, some resistance to moments of self-expressions that were sudden or that involved too much exposition into unknown territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like more straight vocal river stuff. I could feel a bit more resistance to that type of expression. But in the flows, I felt things worked really well because of this easiness to be in a collective environment and to just surrender to most of it.
Yes, brilliant. I want to ask you in maybe further detail about where we started and this idea of the Música do Círculo now being a pedagogy that reaches many cultures. I wonder what have you learned about tools or ways in which people can really bring their own cultural expression, let's say different use of vocality, rhythm, different syllables, anything from the past years that you've kind of uncovered that really allows people to bring their authentic, collective, communal voice wherever they're from. Anything that comes to mind?
I think that the tools that we have that invite cooperative improvisation, the games, the structures, uh, they will open space for that. And not only for the musicality of a specific culture, but of a specific group of people inside that culture. And I feel that, in vocal improvisation, I feel there's some static element that joins us, even across cultures.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're not using like words from languages. In itself, it's a distinct aesthetic feature, artistic feature that creates a common ground. But in that common ground, I think the tools that we have where people create their own patterns, create their own music, will open space for that. But one thing that I find interesting is that the culture is not only in the sounds people make, but it's also in the way that they gather. And there are a lot of very interesting differences also in that realm. Um, so many times the challenges we face across cultures is how to figure out this distinct ways that people use to connect across cultures, what works better in one setting, what works better at a different setting. Uh, and of course that impacts the musical experience everyone's going to have together. And yeah, but I feel like in such a globalized world we live, I think there's a very strong common reference, artistic, aesthetic common reference that most people can have a dialogue with, and many times they will try.
Mhm.
Um,
And what
does
for
that
you
make
is
sense?
in the common ground beyond, let's say, invented language? Although sometimes, a lot of people do work with lyrics, but there's a part of the
Hmm.
process that's definitely linked to invented language. Which other elements do you see as the common ground?
You mean in you mean like in my experience teaching Música do Círculo workshops internationally?
Yes.
I think that the so that's the thing. I think play comes before music. Uh, and actually, the two things are not different, but I think play and relation comes before aesthetic, artistic music. So the easiest place for people to connect, the first common ground, is playing, being in relation. And then the musical material can be involved in that play. And then we're playing with musical material. But the common ground for me is playing together. And and yeah, like children play. That is the common ground where we can access everyone and where we can melt internal resistances.
Hmm.
And then in that common place of playfulness, uh, music starts to manifest. And then it's not everyone will be able to connect to beat, to common poles, to common tonal centers. And then we can explore in a deeper way each one of these environments. But when I meet a group, I don't know, and in Música do Círculo we work with everyone, so I don't know if they're going to be the first common ground I need to build with people, and that I see everywhere, is can we play together? And then after I figure out, okay, we can play together. Okay, can we hold a beat together as part of this playing? Oh, can we sing in the same key as part of this playing? Oh, can we look for interlocking parts as part of this playing? Can we have solos? Can we have grooves? And then so on.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I want to give you maybe a bit of a trickier question since you mentioned globalization, right?
Hmm.
And this idea of almost approaching a certain universalism in the musical ideas behind the practice. Obviously, the current state of the world is such that many aspects of globalization are destroying, right? Communities, planet, these universal ideas don't really work. So I wonder, how do you see Música de Círculo also, I don't know, you could use words like social change, or do you think it also kind of combats parts of globalization that are not healthy for communities, for peoples, for nature?
Yes, yes. Uh, yes. So, in Música do Círculo, we're very interested about the ways we make music, right? And the musical result is connected to that way of making music. But we're very connected to the quality of the experience of making music together. And of course, the resulting sound that happens in the experience, it's an essential, very important part of that experience. But it's not the only element of the experience. So when we're thinking about the ways we make music, and that's very interesting, because the Western modern idea that that music is this aesthetic, artistic thing that is dissociated from the way it's done. This is a very modern and Western idea. But for most of our species' experience with music, music was not separated. It was not possible to separate the sound result from the way it's done, from how it's done and where it's done, right? And I think we're figuring out that when we separate those things, the result is, it's icky, it's strange, it lacks soul or spirit or purpose. And of course, it has to do with the appearance of music school, of music conservatoire, and that separate the language of music as an art form from the context where it appears, where it is experienced, where it's lived. And I think that making music together is an essential element of the identity of a community, for example. So by making music in a certain way, you are creating or reinforcing or reconnecting to community and to a way of being together. And I think the cultivation of different ways of being together is essential in the world we live today. And that's something I really try to be aware when we're doing Música do Círculo and we're sharing, when we're teaching, is understanding that, okay, we're sharing a way of being together that it has a lot to do with our community, but it also has a lot to do with influences from other countries and other cultures, because that's what Brazil has always been. Mm-hmm. This place where different cultures push their culture, and we received it all and we digest it, and then we expel something else. And so I think Música do Círculo comes out of that, and when we're sharing that, it's like we're sharing our game, our way of doing this, understanding that people will adapt and will create their own versions, will use the thing we're sharing in whatever way that suits their community and suits their environment, because it comes from a listening of the space and of the people that are there. And yes, and I think that is a great recipe for sustainable practices. Just listening to the people that are there with you and understanding that this is a collective experience and that the quality of that experience matters. And it matters that it is a healthy, regenerative experience. Mm-hmm. And we have so many examples of experiences or places where music is an experience, as an unhealthy music, is an unhealthy experience, even if it leads to amazing musical results. And so, yeah, I think that perspective is very connected to sustainability.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and it's a holistic perspective, right? It's about wholeness. It's about the whole picture. Because even the word vocal improvisation, you could define it as a Western subject because in some cultures the word doesn't exist because all singing is at least partly improvisatory. So you don't need the word, like
Yeah,
improvisation. I want to
yeah.
ask you about sort of the limits of, because we're talking about healthy ecosystem, right? Ecosystems in some way, and they have limitations. So also the institute, right, has certain limitations of how much you can do. And a lot of times we talk about, further possibilities for partnership between the WELL, Institute Música do Círculo, other parties. So sometimes in these Instagram lives, I ask the people that are with me to dream really big and to just send
Mhm,
out in the ether a dream scenario, a
mhm,
dream collaboration that would research music as a relational experience, that would help it to bring to different people, make it even more accessible, be more accessed in education. So if you join me in that dream space, maybe you
mhm.
could send in the ether some ideas about how that could look like, over the next years, and maybe
Mhm.
someone that is listening, will be a part of that, or at least it will be heard
Yeah.
somewhere in the world. What comes to mind?
I've been dealing with this expansion of our work for a while, and there's a lot of pressure that comes from understanding and accepting these limitations. I think originally, for a long time, I had a somewhat utopic, idealistic view of what we
Mhm.
could do, and not even it's like a mission that I'm not even wondering if I want that mission. And now it's very clear to me that there's a lot we can do, but there's a lot we cannot do, and we need to work together, and we need partners. And the Música do Círculo Institute has a role. The Música do Círculo community, and meaning the other leaders we're training all around the world, and also people that come to our retreats and to our frituras, they are part of this process. But also a lot of things that are outside of this uh, organizations. So I I really love, for example, you're in France, and for me that's a beautiful reference of very interesting ways of doing things that are very organized as networks, right? Individuals in networks or small organizations as points, as focus points in this network. And I believe that for things to be sustainable in the medium term, like they have this element of network has to exist. So I do not dream of Música do Círculo being this all-encompassing organization that spreads its tendrils to every aspect of music making in the world. That being said, I think we have a role, and there's no way of understanding what that role is right now. Just leading our retreats, traveling for workshops in different places, and leading our trainings, and then taking care of the community that comes out of that. That's already enough. That's more than enough. And still, I want to do some more, and I think I want to do things also that I'm interested in, and that are not necessarily the most strategic. Like I don't want to always have to think of the best strategic movement for this global process. I
Yes.
want to do things that feel good to me.
Do you want to
Uh,
share any of the non-strategic fun things that you're thinking about?
for example, we have a retreat, and for every edition of the retreat, I write an arrangement. Uh, and people love these arrangements, and they meet again and sing. Uh, I want to. get Condengo and record those arrangements, and then uh, you know, prepare the sheet music with the voices and the body percussion, and just share that with our
Hmm.
community. Uh, that is a project that will take some work, but it's a work that involves playing, making music, recording, writing and arranging, composing, and that's something I'm interested in. I'm interested in also writing more for voice and body percussion compositions. We're in the vocal improv space here, but I do love to compose,
It's okay to
and
say so. It's okay.
and but I also love to think of compositions that have improvisation
Hmm.
inside of it, right? And so that's something that really interests me in exploring. We have talked about this, right? Performance is a part of that. Música do Círculo doesn't invite me so much into exploring that. So we have Condengo, which is my performance group that I'm interested in exploring more, and exchanges with people that are performing improvised music in other parts of the world. Uh, yeah, those are things I'm interested in that are not connected, are not what the Música do Círculo Institute needs the most right now. It's not the things that serve more this spreading of the practice right now, but you know, I've been trying to balance that, or at
Yes,
least
but it's
that's the
also
goal
about
for the future.
you being
Yeah,
healthy, right? You being healthy and happy. And also the
exactly.
spreading like can very easily lead to overproduction, like in all, arts or teaching. And there's a
Yeah.
limit, right? To when it is healthy and when it isn't anymore.
Yeah, so this idea of scaling, you know, this idea of business, we're facing that like heavily right now. Like, sometimes we ask people. The other day, I was asking a friend who works with management, and telling them about the structure of Música do Círculo, how we've done things from an organizational perspective. And they tell me, oh, it's a miracle that you managed to do what you did, organizing yourself in this way. You have to change that. And I'm like, uh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't a miracle. It wasn't by chance. Maybe it was exactly because of these different ways we have been organizing ourselves. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and this idea of scaling, a lot of people coming, oh no, now, okay, you reach this point, but now to reach another level, you have to change everything. And I'm like,
No, no, no.
right? And who says I want to reach another
Exactly.
level? Why do I have to want to reach another level? I mean,
Yes.
this level we're in right now with this work, and I think I speak for Música do Círculo, but I speak for vocal improvisation overall. It's like beyond what I dreamed, like even 5 years ago.
Hmm.
So I'm really trying to, and this has to do with what you talked about, sustainability. Like sustainability is also about keeping things local,
Yes.
and yeah,
And keeping it relational, right? Because a lot of the times, then when things get scaled up, the rationality gets lost, and all of those links
yeah,
that relate to real community got lost. I mean, there's so many
yeah,
examples of it. I think of So Far Sounds, the idea of living room concerts that started as a
hmm,
real community
hmm,
in London, and then it spread to, I don't know, hundreds of cities, and then it went through a corporate, changeover where it kind of became more of a formalized company structure. And the link between the initial local community and the fact that there would be actual communities being connected can easily get lost in that kind of transition. So I just wish you all the groundedness and, yeah, um, space and support. And I think you're already doing it anyways, but to basically, yeah, keep it relational as you have so far. And I think nothing of that sort can be by chance,
yeah,
including where Musical Circular is now. And even that, and that aspect of how, it feels being in that community and how authentically is being shared is one of the first things that people mention whenever I meet them, about Música do Círculo.
yeah. Yeah, I think that is the most special thing we have been cultivating, and it is something that me, Ronaldo, and Pedro have shared with each other through a lot of challenges, a lot of hard times. You know, working with people for such a long time is like many times I just don't want to see them. You know, it's like and a lot of tensions come, and still we are able to connect to this place that is about not giving up on relating to each other, and then with a certain quality, and then and also when we are with other people, there's this, that's the place when we are with other people, with groups, there is a place that we know very well, that is not, it's kind of intangible, but we know that place very well, how it feels, and we love it. So there's no way we just cannot not share it, because when we are with the people, we go to that place, and in different ways, each one of us, but and then by doing that, we cultivate that place in each other, and that has been like, you know, I just come back from this training where the three of us took turns with the classes, with the groups, and you know, like this place of feeling good, feeling safe with each other, uh, it's, I think, the hardest thing to share with the people that are developing as leaders. That feeling of the group, where you're in tune and you're feeling good and you're feeling that people are present, are open to each other, and we managed to build that with all the three groups in a level that really touches us. Because, you know, like maybe someone has a hard time with conducting, because there's a lot of conducting in musical circle, but you know, they see it, they can learn it, it's a technical thing that has to be learned, but it's, they can just practice and learn it. But to have a common spirit that everyone understands.
Let's see if we lost Zuza or he's coming back. I think we lost him. Talking about the common spirit of their groups, I do have at least one more question, so I'll see if I can invite Zuza back in. Calling Zuza again. He says sorry in the comments. I think he will be back. We'll try on both profiles. Oh, he said his phone ran out of battery. Let's see if he has another phone at hand. We'll keep trying for the time being. And let's see. We hope that Zuza can come back. Let's try again. We're persistent over here at the well, so maybe Zuza can recharge his phone and return to our online space. And Zuza saying he's trying to join from the computer. I think it only works on mobile. So let's see if Zuza will find maybe another phone. Or maybe we have to conclude here. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Oh, he says he's recharging and it should be good in a minute. Exactly. If you're listening to this live, feel free to also add any comments or questions in the chat while Zuza is charging his phone, and then maybe we can ask him or include them in the conversation. And if you're just waiting like me, you can just sing on top of the groove. If you're just joining, we were chatting to Zuza from Música, Círculo. He lost his connection, or kind of his battery ran out. And he said in the chat that he's gonna try and plug it back in and rejoin the conversation. So we'll give him another minute. Okay, so in the meantime, I guess we should just sing. Zul is saying in the chat, he's alone at home, so no one to lend me their phone. Let us know if you think it's gonna charge, and we'll wait till then. Dunk is back. Let's try. Dunk ting dunk ting dunk ting dunk ting dunk ting. Restarting. Dunk ting dunk ting dunk I see something. Do I hear something?
I'm here.
Hello.
I'm so sorry. Hello. Can you hear?
You can. We're persistent. I was like, I'm not gonna let this go. I will wait.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I lost my support So my cell phone support, where I could keep the charger underneath it, and
Yes,
so it was. I would have to hold it in my hand and charge it,
it's
and I
okay.
thought, yeah, sorry.
I just have one more question, just to
Go
conclude.
ahead.
You were talking about co-facilitation and this, relationships that have to be built. And it just reminded me that also, alongside going to a program, studying all the things that are within the program, if you then want to co-facilitate, you kind of have to build those relationships also in real life, right? And it takes years to find your people and to have enough practice together. And it's also a great thing to sometimes, as you say, there are some limits, right? And sometimes it will take a couple of years up until the real relationship is there. And then the tools you have, right, been learning can truly come out and play.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so you're talking about how like this time that it takes for people to build partnerships with
Hmm.
colleagues to co-facilitate and co-lead stuff, right?
For sure.
Yeah. I this is so interesting because in our last module of our training, people lead in trios or quartets, and they lead for an hour together. And the thing that shows me the most that the work that we wanted to do was successful is how people deal with each other in these trios or quartets,
Hmm.
how they support each other, how they uplift each other, and the participants also, but the co-leaders with themselves, and also how they have tensions with each other and how they create space to discuss and that. and and of course, not everyone is fit to build a long-term partnership with you. Uh, but like me, Ronaldo and Pedro, but many times these partnerships can be so helpful. And still today, when people invite me to partner with them to lead something, I will always tend to say yes,
Hmm.
even people that I'm not used to work with, because exercising that muscle, it's so interesting. And then understanding it opens a lot of space for the diversity of ways this work can happen. And sometimes it's happening in a way that's very different than yours. And understanding that also as a valid way and a valid perspective, and even something that you can work and learn with. Uh, I think that is an interesting muscle. And in our like ultra individualistic world that we live in, where everyone is their own projects, uh, it can be actually very helpful to as a tool to go against that
Yes.
tendency. Yeah.
Essential, really, right? Because if you have your own
Yeah.
space, you can create your own rules, you can have your own little kingdom, even if it's a nice looking one, right? But to co-facilitate, really, not just split the session, but actually co-facilitate,
Yeah.
uh, takes a lot of letting go and a whole different set of skills and learning that takes place.
Yeah. And then, in my journey, I could totally say that Música do Círculo as it is today, I could have never developed that by myself. I would have developed something else totally different. Maybe it would be cool also. Maybe it would be something very interesting. Uh, but this thing could have only be developed in partnership. And in partnership with Ronaldo and Pedro, but also in partnership with everyone that has ever participated in any of our circles. So that's the thing that it's very easy to not see how every person that goes to a workshop or a retreat of yours, they are your partners in developing the work. Without them, you can't learn anything. Uh, and this is the beauty, and this is true for every practice actually. I'm thinking here of Taketina, I'm thinking here of Vocal River, how much these teachers of ours like Rihanna and Reinhardt, how much they learned with every participant throughout many years in developing these things. And we need to have an author. So, in the case of Música do Círculo, the three of us are the authors of the methodology. But truth is, it is a very cooperative endeavor with everyone that attends the workshops. And it has helped me to grow a lot because there were a lot of things that Pedro and Ronaldo did and still do that are very different than my way. And in the beginning, I resisted a lot to
Mhm.
those things. And now many of those that I resisted, now I really welcome. And some that I used to welcome, now I resist. Is a constant flow, right?
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of growth in that. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you. And to conclude, I have a little question about, well, for the well, I sometimes talk about the idea of locality, something that is at the same time global and very local. So how can you feel really connected to the place you are, where you live, have very strong relationships, and at the same time have this overview and links that go out to many different places in the world. So just to finish, I wonder if you have any words of encouragement for why it's worthwhile to be part of the well, keep coming to the online meetings. Also, when we kind of feel, our lives are so busy, there's so much going on. Why do you think it's important to keep both and multiple of those connections going in the
Mm.
future?
Yeah. This touches with my everyday experience of life where I'm traveling very connected to the international community and then I come back home and how important it is to have a place to come back to. So right now I'm really connected to having a home to come back to in the musical terms. So having a musical community here where I can sing, where I can improvise on a regular basis. And that's something that actually I really want to invest more in this here
Mhm.
in Brazil. Um, but to do that with the understanding and the certainty that there are people doing the same thing all around the world is just it just changes everything. It just gives us a power, a strength uh, that we don't have by ourselves. So here in Brazil, vocal improvisation is something that's very uncommon and unfamiliar to everyone. So if we don't have this link to people that get us, it doesn't really make sense. So I feel that the work we do with Música do Círculo only makes sense because it's global. So and that's the good thing about global. The people that share interests can connect all around. But that cannot be the only connection. We need also the local connection. So I love the way you put it. And yeah, I think it's two sides of a coin, and the two cultivating both is very healthy, and because then it also opens the perspective of exchange and of cultural exchange. And if there's one thing that I feel that can be very uh, transforming in the world we live today is this idea of cultural exchange, of relating, really relating, not just consuming, not just uh, objectifying, but relating to other cultures. Um, it can teach us a lot about what we have to do in the next chapters of our lives.
Thank you, Zuza. Thank you for your commitment, involvement with the well, for all of your work. I can't wait to see what we do next. I wish you all the best of time in Brazil and in your travels, and hopefully see you soon in person.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. This is always very special to me, being in contact with this community. I I want to do more in that realm. I want to take more care of that side. We have a new year starting. You know, in Brazil, the year only starts after Carnival, so it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't started for long. So it's always a time of hope, and I do hope to be more present with this amazing community that is like, it's such a treasure, really an amazing treasure, and we can't take it for granted. Yeah. And thank you, Yaka, for really being a stronghold and a really focal point of this community and of this work. One of the focal points that helps us to be together and to keep connected.
Wonderful. It was so nice to chat with you. For everyone that's listening, please also join us at thewellvocal.com. Also visit the Institute Música de Círculo, the website, and we will keep connecting online and in person. Thank you, Zuza. Have a great rest of your day and sing soon.
Sing soon. You too, Yaka.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye.